Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a 1v1 for you guys today. I'm playing against Union. This is the third of a best 2 out of 3 between the two of us. He's 1-1, I've 1-1. This was a quite sneaky, well, CV kill in my home zone the other day, but I mean, hey, if you win, you win. So I'm piloting Red Dragons, and we don't know quite what he's going here, but that's going to be an Anyafa, and a nice thing you can do, this rolls it down right away to either Israel or some sort of generic blue force. So this is, of course, an Israeli transport, 20 points, and that means probably something like a Moglan team or some sort of recon special forces or anything like that are going to be dropped off in those woods. It's a nice position, but I am bum rushing Gregory, so we have WZ 551s carrying recoilless rifle infantry. Those are going to be the Tenka Xiao, and behind them I have some Yokjan Dai 90, and we have, decent support here. ZTQ recon tanks moving up. I have these guys unfortunately get stuck in some mud, and we see Union start to cross the bridge. So this is something every time I play on this map I'm amazed at how quickly the Red 4 team can get down here, and well, he's advancing into fire. So that's Hammers, and these are probably going to be, yep, Shaitet 13. These very expensive special forces infantry are getting just torn to shreds by WZ 551s. It's not what you want to see there. That's not exactly ideal, and because of the mud I did deposit the Tenka Xiao, and we're going to be moving up that way. So a Ra'am coming in. I'm not a huge fan of this plane just because I think that the Kurnas is straight better. But it did kill my WZ, and it did get out, and that means it's there for another strike. So we did have to be wary of that. BM-24 is going to be shooting in, and this is just, I'm going to just try to annoy my opponent with this throughout the entire map. Usually there's a couple locations you can rely on enemy placements here, so the town is one, that was the target on the town, and then the woods back here usually, and I mean the accuracy on this thing isn't phenomenal, but if we add to his numbers, he might be able to get something done. Auxiliaries are moving forward. These are, of course, the 15-point Israeli transports that are just brutal against infantry. So I had my Yukjan Dai moving forward, Tenka Xiao moving forward, and support from BTR 80As and WZ 551s on the way. So Rove 90 Zeldas and my Tenka Xiao are caught in the open. I was trying to move them up and through. We'll have to see if that works or not, but force pathing them, they were attack move, but just right-clicking to get them around. And the Yusjan Dai are moving back. I'm disengaging because in comes a J7H. Maybe not the wisest choice. There is also a tank shooting at my Tenka Xiao here, which is a little bit goofy, but should hit right on top of the Auxiliaries and Rove 90, so my hope is we got some infantry kills with that, although the Auxiliary did survive. Wonderful armor on that thing, so it's kind of not great. But if we take a look at the overall battlefield right now, this looks kind of okay to me. So we have a forward hold in Gregory, we have a fair amount of Feder, and the Tenka Xiao did encounter some opposition, and that will be some trouble. But ZTQs are spotting. My only worry is center, but again, people don't usually push through center, and if they do, I have a couple of recon tanks out here. I have an HQ-7 to stop helicopters, and he did actually shoot and I think take down, well, he either shot at the Ra'am or at the initial Anyafa, and the Yusjan Dai are able to clean up the remains of both the Rovait and the Auxiliaries. So this is something I struggle with as Israel as well. If their front line goes, they really have a hard time, and that's really kind of strange because Rovait aren't that great, but the Auxiliaries and Zelda transports are, so it's sort of you need to have fire support there for your front line to work. And if your front line doesn't work, it's a bit of a problem. So Tenka Xiao are sneaking up. I'm hoping to use those long-range recoilless rifles, the PW-80s, to get a nice shot, if I can, onto whatever tank is up here. Maybe even coordinated with the ZTQs moving forward. These guys are the cheap 25-pointers. I don't really care if they die if I get a good kill, so I mean, fair enough, right? But Rove are moving up this way, and my infantry are going to be here to counter, to move into Boris, but Barak 2 is on the way, and I don't have anti-plane AA up yet, so it is going to be a J7H, and this was just poorly timed. I saw the Rovait, I immediately caught out the bomber without thinking, and the Barak 2 comes in, kills the J7H and the MI1, and I was left just there going, son of a bitch. Right, so it's just kind of unfortunate. It was one of those where if he wasn't already out and circling, I might have been able to get away, but it really did tell me, okay, well, we have a good ground position, but I need to start working on the air, because if I start to lose value to those Barak 2s, it's going to be a long game, and it's going to be a long game that eventually turns against me here. So we are trying to do our best to get that going. WC 551's moving up, because I don't want the Yusjan Dai to be the only things holding in this section, and I was expecting a counterattack here for quite a while, so we'll have to see if that pans out. But the Tenka Xiao are in position, ZTQs moving up, and I just want to deal with anything over on this side. So Givati, my ZSDs get a little bit ahead of themselves, but they're 5-point transports. It's not the best, but it is okay. And the same thing here, we do find infantry, and I'm trying to stop and move back and allow the Zanshi to move forward before the ZSDs get into range. You can also see my opponent is pulling some of his infantry back. He probably recognizes I'm going to do a bit of a sweep of this forest and doesn't really want to be caught up in it, so not too bad there. Here comes the ZTQ. Let's see what this Tankashashao can manage. Zelda also approaching, and that's Merkava 2B. So 80-point tank there, side shot, down it goes. Beautiful, beautiful work off the Tankashashao, and even killing the Zelda as well. Potentially even Rovait here, just 4 men left. Looks like they're down to 2 strength, that's a little strange. They must be right on the edge of it. Of course, sometimes that can be a little bit of a mismatch, but Ra'am coming in, shooting at my WZs, and I lose another one, and I also lose the 25-point recon tank, so not the best there, but it is what it is. Lujiandui and the Zanshi are going to eventually chew through Gavati in the woods. These guys, I mean, 25-point shock is not horrible, but I don't know, I'm not sure they're the most value for the money special forces around. Just this is what they were fighting against, right? Lujiandui 90 are also 25 points, but the Type 81 I think is a bit better than the Galil. Just in the game, probably not in real life, I wouldn't imagine. But I mean, the combined arms between these guys is just individually stunning and killing the infantry in the woods and just moving forward as a screen. So I'm hoping to push right through there, secure my side of Boris, maybe even get to the town. And we also still do have eyes on reinforcements on this side, so Tankashashao will take forever to get through the frontal armor of Noxiri, even if they hit. But at least it's a bit of a deterrent, it's a bit of a, hey, you can't get this for free. So, HQ61A is coming up. These guys are the anti-plane choice that I've made. I'm not sure I love this choice, to be honest, and, well, only 2 missiles is a pretty severe detriment, but on the other hand, they're cheap for the performance against planes, right? 60% accuracy, 9 HE power. I thought maybe between them and the Crotal, at least I have something, and we can always improve it later on. I probably wanted another PGZ over on this side, but just to get that last chip point of damage against any plane that's going this way, right? Because if you hit it and you don't get the crit, that's 9 points of damage, not 10, and the plane is still alive, which kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? So that is what it is. But the ZTQ is opening up. Oxford unfortunately able to escape, but the Rovait are in the open, and yeah, they're not going to have a fun time. But neither will my Tankashashao as another group. This time Rovait 90 moving forward, but honestly, look at that. 10 points for those guys, 15 points for my Tankashashao, and these guys have gotten their value and then back again as the Rovait 90 down to a single man. Might even get killed, but not quite. So my men do get run through there. It's a little unfortunate. We find some Bedouins, and this screen is going pretty well. I need some heavy armor, and I need some better anti-tank weapons, potentially, but another Ra'am coming in, and this was starting to get really annoying, so I'm going to have to answer that with an ASF soon. Ra'am coming in, and the bombs, yeah, annihilate some Zanshi. Yeah, okay. Maybe not the most exceptional plane, but if you can get unchallenged bombing runs, he's going to have a good run of it regardless. So, BM-24 is going to be shooting again. I have cargo out here. These guys only carry 1 volley. So 1 volley, then resupply, but it's not that intensive. This is a 15-point Zil cargo, and we were able to resupply probably 2.5 times, I'd say. It's not too terrible. Second BM-24 is joining it. Boris has now been capped, and Union has a +1, but really only because my ZZZ is not in position yet in Feder, and I felt a bit more comfortable capping here than here because I didn't have a lot around this side, and I've seen people sneak through there before with pretty good success. So, Feder is capped, 126 points to 5. I'm feeling decently comfortable here, but, well, a lot could still go wrong. Lujiandui 90 engaging with Rovait and Zeldas is one of those things. This was beautiful. I didn't notice that engagement starting, and my Type 81's firing instead of the PF-89, so the Zeldas are still alive, and decimating Lujiandui that should be able to kill them in, well, 2 shots maybe? 21 AP power isn't the greatest, but, I mean, 6% actually is not bad. And if they both land a hit, that should be pretty nice. But J7H Bomber coming in, trying to get some vengeance here. And let's take a look. Oh, hard to tell. Yeah, it looks like the Zeldas were already back. The infantry may or may not have been, but unfortunate that that happened. And my infantry is getting shoot through here, so I need more Zanshi on this side. I'm trying to get some recon infantry there as well. We'll have to see how it goes, but a single ZSD did get around. And that means I can just put them right up here and take a look. And if I see something, well, maybe we can get creative and do something about it. So, Tankashashao are up and forward, more Tankashashao coming in. I tend to rely on these guys maybe a little bit too much, but I really like what they can do, particularly in Gregory, because it is such a zone that's, I don't know, mid-range rifles tend to do alright. We are taking a little bit of fire on both sides, ZSDs. Well, I wasn't sure, so these guys should never have been out in front of infantry. And there's a tank over here as well, so even though they're sparring okay against the Rov 890, if we can't get back into the woods, it's gonna be rough. Yeah, it is what it is. Here is what I was looking for, though. This is a command vehicle, and I have no idea why the hell it isn't in the woods, but it wasn't, so we do spot it there, and I'm trying to figure out what I have that can kill it. Because my only artillery in this deck is the BM-24, it's meant to devastate whole positions wholesale, like it's trying to do right now against these Rovaites, and just did right there, look at that. 1-2 shots and a dead Rovait, and that, I mean, that's what you get these guys for. But it's not enough to hit this guy with any precision, right? So I need a different answer. I need either to get infantry up and around, or I need an ATGM plane, but this is deep in enemy territory, and if I send an ATGM plane back there, it's probably a one-way trip, at least until I've cleared out some other things. So we do get a cap on Gregory, and these infantry are just going to stay right here, then get into the town, and I don't know, we've been engaging enough in Boris, favorably enough for me, I think, that I felt comfortable doing that, getting the +1 ticking back again, and forcing my opponent to respond. So ZTQ does spot a couple of Zeldas, and with the help of actually command tank back here, ZZZ, we do get some shots in. Zelda's going down, Rovi going down, Ra'am coming in one more time, and does kill my ZSD-63C. That, I don't know, I've just been a little cheeky. I was sitting there going, if I'm correct, that command vehicle didn't have a gun, and mine does. So even if it would be killing it slowly, we might be able to kill it. Tiron Blazer does go down there, and we have eyes on an Auxiliary Pakud. So I'm looking at that, and I think to myself, okay, well, if this is counter-capped and Boris is capped, we're at a 0, so I want to be putting on pressure in Boris, even though I don't have the most stuff there. That Shinitet 13, though, turns that around in a half second, so yeah, I don't have anything that can fight that. Zanshi cannot stand up to Shinitet. And we're going in again over the top here, but a little bit stiffer resistance this time. It looks like Shotkol's... Yeah, Shotko Dalits on that side and more infantry and tanks over here. So the Tanka Shashao are going to have to get kills there. ZS-90s actually not in... didn't have any sight, just a little weird. JH7 called in for Shotko Dalits just because I figured that was a larger tank. It wasn't. So don't do that because it's my luck that it didn't die, and that's pretty much it. So we do spot Shinitet 13, and this I do like. Right, so the Tanka Shashao get the second shot called Dalit, ZSD shooting in at very expensive Shinitet 13 once again. And if I can take these guys out at range over and over and over, yeah, okay, I've got no problem with that. Ra'am coming in another time, and the second one as well. And this is the thing that I need to start punishing this, but my HQs missed on the first one. One hit on the second, and missiles away, down it goes. So we do get one of the Ra'ams, but there are a lot of bombers left in this deck. And, well, I've lost my ZZ... Well, oh geez, no, I haven't. Command tank is still fine there, so we're good for right now. BM-24 is going to have to be shooting in on this side, and... I mean, I know where his auxiliary is back here. I have a reasonable suspicion of where the command vehicle is back there. I just haven't pushed forward enough to get it, and that's an issue. The other issue is my HQ-61As are out. This is the problem with these sorts of anti-air for planes, is that unless you keep them better supplied than I had, they're going to run out. So I have Zil cargoes already called in, I have another Zil cargo that I've been resupplying the BM-24, and I'm just trying to see if I can kill things with some bombs, with some artillery. Barat 2 coming in, and the J7H gets taken, ooh, yeah, gets taken out again. I think he should have gotten out, honestly. That looks like he was out, but yeah, not so much. Li Ren versus Gavati. This is a fight that Gavati do want, because Li Ren, I mean, shock training is nice, but 15 strength versus 10 will eventually tell. The Li Ren will do okay, but they won't get the kill, and the kill is what matters. So this is the remains of those Shinitet 13 taking fire from a fresh group of Tanka Shashao again. This is what I said about this map. It's like infantry to infantry fighting from here to there, and also the ability to screen out tanks and things like that is just really kind of wonderful. So it's not something you get all the time. Zanshi pushing forward, ZSDs maybe pushing forward, and one out of these anyway. A little hard to tell. I have no idea what those were. Probably some sort of transport for the Israelis. Kfir C7 coming in. My HQ-61A is not resupplied yet. The cargoes are still on the way, and that bomber is going to have relatively free reign as my Tanka Shashao, yeah, get demolished. Beautiful bombing run. I might have been able to move out of it if I had known it was on that side of me, but I didn't. And some people will expect that, and they'll sort of lead the duck because you can see the bomber coming in. So I was sitting there thinking, okay, well, let's hope they didn't quite get the positioning right, and I might be able to just survive. But I probably should have moved. The thing is, I wouldn't have necessarily retreated, I might have moved this way, and that would be just even more into the blast. So, 6 in one, half dozen the other, honestly. Sometimes it's just luck. So, WZ 551's pushing up, BTR 80A, another double set of WZs, and I'm just trying to be as much of a nuisance as I can. So the ZTQ 61A taking a shot does take out some vehicles back here, and it should be just the Bakud, but this Ra'am, oh man, this guy needs a raise from Union. Gazit here in this Ra'am gets everything. Everything there died. Beautiful value off that plane. I was so mad. So, Moglin spotted and Li Ren also pushing up, and this was really interesting. So, 5 strength versus 10 strength, elite training versus shock training, type 81 against a Negev. And, I mean, I guess he's in the woods, I'm in the open ground, I'm going to be taking more damage from that. But, well, I'm trying to have some answer for it. Mi-25 floating over this way, and those rocket pods might be able to do something. Unfortunately, vision lost. Chamaho is also getting the loss of the Shayatet, and then fighting in against Rov 890 as well. Mi-25 with those Fletas, not the most reliable missiles, but you only need one of the 4 to land against something like a Tiron 5. So here is our second to last missile on the way, and stunned. So even if it was going to hit, the fact that I was stunned means that it's not. And the K-Fear C7's coming in for another bombing run, but this time it looks like no great success. He was leading the duck that time, he didn't previous, did that time, just goes to show you, I guess. Barak 2 coming in, and I'm really tired of this plane. You wouldn't necessarily think it's amazing at first, short range on the derbies, but the accuracy is what kills on that thing. It's just terrible. Well, not terrible. Terrible. Terrifying to fight against. Mi-25's moving back. We did survive that somehow. I mean, that's why you get the 10 strength helos, I suppose. Guns have a relatively hard time fighting them if you're careful. JH7 coming in, trying to get the shot here, going around and through to that command vehicle, but Barak 2 is chasing, and evac ordered. We do get away just in time as that last missile was closing. So my Li Ren are dead, but I know there's Moglin teams in there. My ZTQ, probably not the safest, but I wanted to get through here. I wanted to start shooting in on this side and really making my opponent sort of pay for the pleasure of keeping on going. Fibao is out and trying to answer the enemy Machbet. We do get a kill, and it looks like this was, yeah, another Machbet. Very distinctive vehicle. Of course, having said that, I hope I didn't get it wrong, but such is life. And this is a sneaky Anyafa. I didn't see it during the game, so he's depositing something back there, and I just didn't know anything was over there. I should have had better base defense than I did, so you can see right now, just with the zoomed out view, there's nothing over here short of that MI1 and Li Ren. I was defending against this side, but not against the back, so nice use of the space from Union. That's definitely something I should have been paying attention to, and very much did not pay attention to. So, Chamaho 5s are holding this high ground. I need some infantry there to back them up, but Givati are moving forward once again, and my Zanshi are going to have to take them out once again if I want to have any hope of capturing this zone. And here's another flipping Ra'am. This is just the night of the Ra'ams, honestly. But that time, he didn't drop his bombs. Evac's ordered down to 1 strength, and we do get him. SU-27SK and the HQ-61A shooting in. And we finally get the second of what should be only 2 of those that my opponent has available. Unfortunately, there are still some K-Fear C7s. So, Givati were encountered. ZSD is a little too far ahead yet again, and the Zanshi and Li Ren are going to try their hand at killing these guys, but there's Shaitet 13 in the town, and this is 2 separate engagements I didn't want to have going on at the same time. I wanted to have both of them going in on the Givati, K-Fear C7 coming in, and that 1,400 kilogram bomb. I swear the explosion radius looks bigger than that is. I mean, look at that. That looks like 20 HE. Yeah, I suppose. It all works out. So, Shaitet down to 3, and we are saved here by fire support if we can survive just a little bit long enough against what's probably a Moglin team spotting back here. Lots of people like to put recon right there or right here. It looks the entire way over, and you can see your opponent's reinforcements oftentimes. So what you can see, you can kill. So WZ-551's shooting, Chamaho moving up as well. I was trying to see if I could get all the way up to that ridge line, because shooting over that is a lot of fun. And here's something. Cephei finds my command vehicle back here. It's a command tank, 135 points, 2 top armor. We actually killed the Cephei. Look at that. Yeah, that's a dead Cephei. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I didn't notice. I also didn't notice the firing computer reset, and I left him there. So, geez, sometimes the mistakes that you notice after the match just make you want to just facepalm, honestly. So, Muglon unloaded, my ZSD is going to be paying the price, but he's only 5 points, he doesn't care. Unfortunately, these guys are also spotted, and I'm just a little uncomfortable with what's going on here. So, I'm off a kill by the HQ7, and another Kefir coming in, trying to get something. Let's see, where are those bombs going? Evac ordered, looks like another potential mistake for my opponent just with the bombing firearm position, so a little unfortunate there. And now I'm just trying to see, some people, when you start to lose these forward towns, will just pack infantry into here and here. So that's what I was going after, trying to just get a saturation with the BM-24s to weaken whatever it is I might be fighting next. So JH7 sent the long way around, actually does take out Tsefa. And then here's the turn, and let's take a look at this from the perspective of that poor little Mugaf. Look at that guy. He's just chilling. He's having a nice time. It's a sunny day. There's a river. There's some tree. Oh god. Oh man. So JH7, pretty good turn radius on that too. Gets in, gets the kill, gets out, and that means Boris and Feder are now hurting my opponent a little bit here as Feder's capped, Boris is uncapped, and I had a ZZZ ready for this zone, but Rovi 90 are pushing forward. There's also more infantry that is pushing forward, and I'm trying to use my last remaining vehicle to screen. They're Shitet 13, and it looks like they're force path as well, because they're not using the B300. That should be a dead WZ by now, but it's not. And instead the Shitet halfway dead, and I'm trying to get the last kill with the Mi-25 moving over here, and we do get it, but my bomber was already on the way, and that big-ass bomb is, well, not something I can call off that late in the game. Fortunately, we don't get a little bit of an own goal there, and my WZ does get out. So, nice work off the Mi-25, honestly. I was impressed by this guy. Usually I'm not, but I was that time around. HQ-61As are saved from a Kurnos by the virtue of yet again being out of ammunition. Because their guns were on, they were just unloaded. HQ7 takes a shot, but it's a swing and a miss, and that Kurnos goes away unhappy, but at least alive. Zonchi are forward, ZSDs are forward. There was no counter attacking Gregory either, so this has been held without too much trouble for quite a while. And I don't know, at this point I was thinking, okay, well, I could push pretty hard. I could get things going down the center, but honestly, if I can just keep the fight in Boris, eventually I win this, right? If we get the cap here, and then we force a counter cap in Boris, now we're taking a +3. Even if this is counter capped at the cost of another 100 and some point command vehicle, that goes down to a +2, and I'm fine with that. If I can keep all of the attrition on this side, I mean, hey, that works. It won't be pretty, and it won't be quick, but at least will be relatively sure thing. And sometimes a sure thing is not advisable, but sometimes it's just kind of what makes you feel a little safer in this game than you otherwise would. Now I am getting some base defense out as I have spotted the Anyafa, and a J7H is coming in with 1,000 kilogram bombs. The Spike got a kill, which is unacceptable, and we're going to have to try to kill it, but I think the Zanshi actually did. So yet again, my bombing run is a little bit late, and I do call him off, and away he goes. So, not too much trouble there, and these are more Oxyrites. So, this is what I was trying to say earlier about Israel. Oxyrites are not cheap. Rovaites, I mean, they're 10 points. The Rovait 90 are also 10 points. I highly recommend just taking Rovait 90 in an Israeli deck, particularly if it's not a mech deck and you don't have that many infantry cards. But they're not cheap, and they die if not properly supported, and that's 30 points dead with the 2 Oxyrites. That's a lot. But the Barak 2 is trying to make up for that value. I lose the bomber, but we do clear out the forest and keep my tanks alive. Zanchi shooting in once more, and now this time we're here in force. BTR 80As, WZ 551s, and we have some decent coverage here, so I was pretty happy with that. SU-27SK barely gets out from a Barak 2, and at this point we're going to speed things up just a little bit as we near what's the end of this game. The +3 ticking is just getting to be a little bit much. It's going to make the game relatively quick if my opponent doesn't get a counter cap, and yeah, let's see. Spike destroyed. I did lose another 551, but that's okay. And these guys, I mean, Tenkashashel at these woods again is just a very nice option, and the Yukshun Dai are just buzzsawing through Rov 890. So if I was the Blue 4 player at this point, I'd be sitting there going, okay, Boris is lost, let's see if I can push somewhere else, let's see if I can do something else, let's see if I can sort of wiggle my way out of this just by being unexpected. And that's kind of what he's trying to do here. So it's Tsefa E and Tsefa B moving in. And actually, he might have been able to kill my tank if it was a Tsefa B instead of an E earlier. But these guys, unfortunately, run right into some reinforcing BTR ADAs. And these guys have autocannons, pretty decent ones with the 2A72, and even though my MI1 does go down, we get the E, get some damage onto the B, and looks like 1 strength left. Does actually stun the BTR. Oh man. And that's going to be a kill off the HQ7, so missile from afar, but I mean, heck, defending center is very nice, and my ZZZ is just far enough over that he wasn't spotted. So lots of people like to cap on the left side of center, I cap on the right usually, so don't use that against me, please, but I tend to be over here for that reason, just because I've gotten Helo Rush from the side there a fair number of times. And instead of defending myself better, I just plan differently. So that was a very unfortunate resupply vehicle, but this is pretty much the game. So Magellan team's taken out by ZTQs, Yoshjan Dai moving up into the woods, and I was talking with Union in chat at the time, and we just basically said, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes it's unrecoverable. I've been on the other end of this as well before, so much respect to Union for the game, and for closing out our best of 3 with what was unfortunately a rather lopsided third game. So I hope to extend it to 5, I'm sure he'll get me again pretty soon. Units that did well, Tekasheshao did very well, Merkava 2B kill is more than I could ever ask of for them. Yokshan Dai 90 did okay with Rovate 90s and Oxyrits, and then some very nice work from fire support vehicles, BM24s. I was curious how these guys did. Kill on a Dorban LR spike is very nice, Rovate 90, and a Magellan. Well worth it for the first BM24, the other one not so much, only killing some Bedouins, but combined I think that was a pretty decent investment, just because in cutting off Bedouins and Magellan, they're both recon infantry, and that means that my opponent's blind as well as having to replace it for points, so doubly good for that. And we actually did kill... This is the one that was forward, not the home zone, but that got the Zelda and Rovais, and the other one got Helicopter. So, all around, no complaints. Thank you guys for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.